A pair of ranked opponents clash in Muncie, Indiana for the Don Shondell Active Ankle Challenge as the Penn State Nittany Lions and Ball State Cardinals square off next on ESPN3. College volleyball eyes around the nation watching this one as number 14 Penn State and 15 Ball State meet in an early season battle in the Don Shondell Active Ankle Challenge inside Worthen Arena. Thanks for joining us on this Friday evening. Alex Thomas alongside Mick Tidrow. Both of these teams historically great. Penn State, a 17-year run of EIVA championships snapped last year, and Ball State, a team that's continually in the match.
Two storied programs, two legendary coaches, both looking for an impressive early season win. We're set up for a great match here tonight in Muncie.
The Don Shondell Classic started yesterday as Ball State a clean sweep of St. Francis. It took 3 sets and an impressive performance by the Cardinals.
Matt Walsh able to get it going through the middle in the first set. Michael Fisher for St. Francis was able to lead a handful of rallies, but in the end, the freshman on the other side of the net, Matt Shevs, got it done. 16 kills and a stellar performance. Lots of energy inside of Worthen Arena, and the Cardinals come away with the victory.
Ball State, the clean sweep, and today Chris Nugent for Penn State, a player to watch because of how good he's been on that offensive side.
32 kills already on the season, 4 kills per set. Last year an All-America honorable mention, and in this match against USC this past week, put together 22 kills, an absolute star that the Cardinals will have to keep an eye on throughout the match.
In just 4 matches, the freshman Matt Shevs has made his name known so far on this Ball State team. He's been so impressive.
Leads the team in kills, has had double-digit kills in the first 3 of his 4 matches so far as a freshman. Really has changed the offense for this Cardinal team and looks to have another match to follow up his 16-kill performance last night.
The 2015 Wisconsin High School Player of the Year leads the Cardinals against the Penn State Nittany Lions. Let's send it down to the third member of our broadcast crew, Jack Kaiser, who's with Ball State's head coach, Joel Walton. Thanks, Nick.
Coach, your team had a .368 attack percentage last night against St. Francis and is around .300 on the season. What's led to that offensive efficiency?
Well, a big part of that is actually Matt Shevs coming in and balancing out our offense. And when I say balance, he draws the block to his side of the net. And we haven't had a right side attacker with his presence for the last couple of years. So his presence alone, along with the other guys that we have, Walsh, Serene, Weiler, Pia, it just balances out how teams have to defend us, and it makes it that much harder on them to get their block in good places.
Chris Nugent for Penn State has 32 kills in 2 matches. How do you limit him tonight?
He's somebody that, for Penn State, he's going to get a lot of sets. He takes a really aggressive swing. He hits a good drive at the block. Our block has to be effective. We're probably not going to stuff him that much. We've got to get good touches, be able to dig the ball off the block, and then transition out of that.
Starting lineup today for Penn State. It's headlined by Chris Nugent here with Braswell, Gear, Albrecht, Mendy, and Callaway in the starting lineup.
We mentioned Nugent, our player of the match, but someone else I think that you need to keep an eye on, number 16, Calvin Mendy, second on the team in kills with 29, and his height at 6'11" will be a nice matchup against Matt Walsh for the Cardinals.
Both 6'11" players. You mentioned Walsh and Mendy head-to-head against each other. Matt Walsh highlighted with Matt Shevs, Mitch Wheeler, Parker Schwartz, Brendan Serene, and Connor Gross, once again the starting center for this Ball State Cardinals team.
Walsh 25 kills and a team leading 19 blocks. His defensive presence there in the middle, and if he can get it going early, it completely opens up the offense for the Cardinals on the left pin and the right pin with Shevs and Serene.
Nick Levanchi, another start. 5 straight matches he has started as a freshman. He's come in from St. Louis, Missouri, made his immediate impact, 5'10", but he's been so stellar.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing is that we've been talking so much about freshman Matt Shevs, but there's another freshman putting up stellar numbers himself. If you look more into Nick Levanchi, leading the team with 28 digs, and he's played now in 12 sets. A lot of expectation from Adam Wessel coming into this season, but Nick Levanchi challenging him for some time and playing well. Walton's been known to be a coach that goes with the hot hand, and he's going with Levanchi as he came off an excellent tournament in Hawaii.
Not to mention the rotation of players that can come off of the bench and have an immediate impact here today as well. Ball State 3-1 on the season. Penn State, just 2 matches they played so far, UCLA and USC. They're 1-1, ranked 14th in the nation, but after that loss against UCLA in the first match, they bounced back nicely against USC.
That's a tough match to start the season. UCLA ranked number 2 in the preseason polls, but responded well against USC, getting some huge numbers, 25 kills from Calvin Mendy, and then, of course, 22 from Chris Nugent.
Head coach for Penn State, Mark Pavlik, in his 22nd season. He's been nothing short of dominant during his time with the Nittany Lions. 4-time EIVA Coach of the Year on the other side is Joel Walton for Ball State, also in his 22nd season, rather his 19th season. Another win yesterday against St. Francis, and Walton just continues to bring this Ball State team and make them competitive in each match.
350 wins on the career, led Ball State to their 1,000th win last season, one of only 2 in the country programs that have ever done that. 2 fantastic coaches, and that's what another thing that makes this matchup so great, because you have great volleyball minds going off against each other.
Ball State, their home white uniforms. Penn State, their road blue. Here today inside Worthen Arena. It's day 2 of the Don Shondell Active Ankle Challenge. Ball State 1-0 so far this year in the challenge. That victory against St. Francis, a tough 3 sets. The first set mostly to Ball State, didn't have too much back and forth, but those last 2 sets were a dogfight for the Cardinals.
They were, but it was important that the Cardinals get it done in 3 sets to have some rested legs for this tough matchup tonight against the Nittany Lions.
Underway with Braswell serving on Penn State. And Serene right into the net. Penn State an early lead. That's what we saw yesterday. Those service errors played a key in allowing St. Francis to stay in the game.
Ball State did a nice job in the first set, and that's why they were able to jump out to a quick 12-7 lead. But the errors started to come back with those service errors and attack errors late in set 2 and 3, and it almost cost them 1 set.
Levancy sets for Chev, stuffed. Penn State's so good at the net with the height. Nugent rises. We saw that a lot yesterday. Weiler on the attack from the left side.
Quite a rally there to start this first set. Nothing to get the blood pumping, like chasing that ball all around. Parker Schwartz, one of the best servers on this team.
We'll see a lot of that tonight. Nugent against Walsh. Height on height, power on power. Nugent wins that one.
Yeah, Kevin Gear there also involved, leading the team with only 6 blocks. This Penn State team isn't necessarily a statistically stout defensive team, but able to get it done there with Kevin Gear.
Nugent just 6'4" compared to the rest of the front line on both sides as he delivers a service error. But Nugent plays more like he's 6'11" at the net.
An absolute powerhouse up at the net. 32 kills in only 2 matches. Fantastic numbers.
Chevs this year, 54 kills, leads the team. Saves one there. Went out of bounds, and Penn State back in the lead 3-2.
Ball State looks like they're playing a little bit on their heels so far. I don't know if it's intimidation, but Penn State has come out the more aggressive team here early.
Kevin Gear back to serve from Rochester, New York. Redshirt freshman. Time is called as a ball rolled into the back of the court. A replay chance on the Penn State side.
Ball State defended that well. But we'll get a replay here with Kevin Gear. As I said, those 6 blocks leading this team.
And in talking to both coaches earlier this week, Alex, we found out that they're both trying to limit those service errors, and that's been one of the biggest point of emphasis, the passing, the service errors. Every team wants to try and limit both of those, but here today it's even more imperative because of this back and forth match so far already.
Every point counts, and so far 3 of Ball State's 4 points have come off of attacking or service errors. Fortunate, but you can't rely on that for your offense all the way through.
First lead of the match goes to Ball State here with Mitch Weiler back. And another attack error. Ball State up by 2, their largest lead.
Weiler, 2 nice serves right in a row there. Just over the net, a little bit of rotation on the ball.
Nugent set up and finishes it. That's what he does so well, Alex. He gets into the middle of the defense, and that's Matt Walsh going to play a factor here today on the Ball State side.
Such a powerful attack on the ball that even a 6'11" player like Walsh, known for his defense, can force him to commit errors.
Another 6'11"er, Calvin Mendy with the serve. Just a redshirt freshman.
Nugent on the error out of that back line. Ball State's defended well, and like Coach Walton said early in the match with Jack Kaiser, they aren't going to be able to block too many of these attacks from Penn State, but just have to be able to dig the ball out of the back.
That time Albrecht gets the best of the Ball State defense.
Albrecht third on the team in kills with 16. The redshirt junior out of New Jersey.
A career high of 20 kills versus Lewis last year, but already this year had 13 against USC in that victory. Nugent rises, Ball State there, but can't keep it alive. Penn State ties it back up.
Ball State doing an excellent job at the net, getting blocks, but Penn State one-upping them in the back, keeping the ball alive, and results in Nugent sending it off the fingertips of Walsh.
Albrecht to serve again. Here's the freshman Levanchi with the save to set up Chevs. Off to Penn State defense, and Chevs' first kill of the evening comes at .7.
Welcome to the game, Matt Chevs. He'd had quite a few attempts on the net over on that far pin. Finally able to get one to go off the fingertips.
That is the first kill of the evening for Ball State, 7 points in. The errors playing a factor so far early on. Connor Gross, the server. Off the Ball State fingertips. Back and forth, 7-all.
Calvin Mendy, that height advantage comes into play when Matt Walsh isn't on the floor. Able to get up and hit it off the tips of the shorter Alex Pia and Matt Chevs.
Matt Calloway, 6'7" redshirt senior, one of the leaders on this team. In the middle is Pia, and Ball State regains control.
Ball State has great success with those quick attacks. They do a nice job with Walsh and then Pia when he comes in the middle. Both Walsh and Pia are known for their defense, but when they can get it going offensively, it really changes the game for the Cardinals.
Right into the teeth of Albrecht in that defense of Penn State. Serene serves. Nugent in the middle, blocked. And it's Pia and Chevs right in the middle.
What great energy from Chevs. We saw it last night, especially late in set 3, but every time he comes down with these, he's a quiet guy while playing, but he knows when he makes a big play, and he knows that his energy can feed his teammates.
And we saw yesterday against St. Francis when Brendan Serene's in there to serve, this team gets back, quickly sets up, and it's an offensive attack that works more often than not.
For Penn State, they have to acknowledge that last night. Serene has had it going. He keeps the ball in play on his serves. So for Penn State to be able to take the serve away from him on the first attempt is huge.
Redshirt freshman Luke Broswell on the serve. The Nittany Lions down by a point. Make it 2.
Feed the freshman. Chevs getting it going here early. Two kills already. He's positioning the ball well off the block.
One of the most interesting things that head coach Joe Walton continues to say about Chevs is he's mature beyond his years, but also playing from that right side with the lefty swing. It's so hard to anticipate for a defense which way it's going to go.
And he has such great placement as well. Makes him a very versatile player, and why he's able to contribute so much already early on. Calvin Mendy there with the kill. That 6'11" height is tough to match, especially on the outside.
Chevs holds strong on that outside, 6'8". Nugent to serve, 4 kills per set here on the season. 33 on the year. All State active on the blocks so far.
Weiler's sneaky out of that back line. He has the ability to come up and almost appear out of nowhere, and Gross does a good job of finding him on occasion.
Chevs with the serve, already 3 service aces on the year. Dig by Gross, slam down. A save by Levanchi. Set up for Nugent, Levanchi out of bounds. And that's what Nugent does so well. Teeth of the defense, hard ones to hit.
Levanchi's going to have to have great control on the back line to match Nugent's power and his speed. He can work from anywhere on the floor, up at the net, coming out of the back line, and deliver an absolute strike right into the heart of your defense.
Gear on the serve. 9 kills on the year.
That's twice here early that the Cardinals have been able to find success on those quick attacks right in the middle. Once with Pia and there with Walsh. Look for them to keep pushing that here to maybe try and stretch this lead. Can't commit those, Mick. Cannot have those service errors. Penn State has been more prone to the errors here early. But for Ball State to be able to win, they know they can't give anything away. This Penn State team is too talented. And Jalen Penrose into the match.
Penrose, a 6'8" redshirt junior from Cambridge, Massachusetts. 4 kills on the year. And Penrose there enters the game in immediate impact.
Watching him in warm-ups here earlier, that serve is tough to defend. A lot of rotation, and it's just so fast to be able to dig it out in the back with control. Very difficult to do.
And a service error on that one gives Ball State the 1-point lead back. One of the toughest things about Penrose's serve is head coach Mark Pavlik raved about his arm ability, but trying to hone it in, get a little bit more accuracy out of that arm. And he could be one of the deadliest in the country, according to their head coach. And he's one of those players. It's exciting to watch, as you mentioned, on those serves.
And Nugent, a senior, graduating after this year, with Penrose still having eligibility, there's a position that he could fill with that arm strength that, like you said, Pavlik was on and on about Penrose's arm strength and his ability. If he can harness that control, game changer for the Nittany Lions. Chevs perfectly set up by Connor Gross, falling out of bounds. Chevs hasn't found a direct kill yet, but he's able to position it that it's tough to defend against. And if it works, keep going with it.
Nugent again, this time from the outside. It works. Penn State ties it back up at 14 apiece.
And just as I say, Chevs is so good at it, Nugent has made a career out of doing that.
Nugent just 1 year ago, first team all EIVA, second team in 2015. So the last 2 years, the accolades compiling up in what now is senior campaign. And Ball State picks up another service error point. That draws us to our first timeout. Ball State 15, Penn State 14. Rest of set 1 coming up next on ESPN 3. Already 4 service errors on Penn State. We can come out and talk about that. But
And Nugent with 5 kills.
right, but yet they're only down by 1. So many errors. Wow, we only have 6 kills total. Service errors piling up on both sides. Penn State with 4, Ball State 2. The Cardinals lead by 1 halfway through the first set.
And the Cardinals have done a nice job of limiting their errors, but you can't rely on your offense solely coming from mistakes from the opposing team. The Nittany Lions will hone it in and get things figured out, but Serene back to serve here in this active ankle challenge. He's done a nice job of putting together runs for the Cardinals.
Yesterday, Serene with 12 kills against St. Francis, and Ball State now with 2-point lead. Serene also 2017 pre-Almeva team, and last year, second team at the end of the year. Looks to build on that success. So far, so good in this young 2017 season.
He's been relatively quiet at the net tonight so far, but a decent job back from the service stripe.
Gear right in the middle of the defense of Ball State.
6'7", redshirt junior, only 9 kills coming into this match, but enough that you have to put a focus on him.
Nugent on the other side of the court keeps it alive. Gross for Weiler. Tip down, Ball State point.
Weiler out of that back line again. He's put together a nice couple kills here with 2 in the early going. Ball State will need Weiler to have a big game in order to triumph. Penn State is every bit as deep as the Cardinals, so it will be point for point going back and forth.
Set up for Nugent, slams it down, Serene can't handle.
And Serene right off that backhand. I think every one of Nugent's kills so far has gone off the hands awkwardly of somebody in that back line. Ball State has to get it under control or he's going to continue to have a field day. 6 kills already.
The speed and athleticism of Nugent showing up. 22 kills against USC. Led the team in that 5-set affair. USC, no easy match for Penn State.
Well, we're seeing Nugent so well. Chevs, anything you can do, I can do better maybe. 4 kills already for the freshman, and he's back on the service stripe.
And you've seen it so far through the first 4 matches, Alex. This offense is starting to run right through Matt Chevs.
Most definitely. He's able to push it to the far pin, and like Coach Walton was saying in the pregame, it completely changes the offense. As Gross there on the block for the Cardinals. But when you have Serene pulling people to the left pin and Chevs pulling people to the right, Matt Walsh in the middle, Mitch Weiler out the back line, it really does change the offense.
A Penn State timeout to try and stop this mini run of Ball State, up by 3 points, their largest lead of the evening here today. It's been Matt Chevs with 4 kills. He leads all offensive attackers so far in today's match. A .444 hit percentage. He's been all over the place, especially on that right side. And Penn State trails by 3. Let's send it down to the third member of our broadcast crew, and Jack Kaiser.
Thanks, Mick. Legendary Ball State men's volleyball coach, Don Shondell has his name on the Active Ankle Challenge, but it will also be elsewhere soon. The Dr. Don Shondell Center will be built adjacent to Worthen Arena and will house practice space for both of the basketball and volleyball teams. To go with that, a training room, study room, and individual team meeting rooms will also be included. Coach Shondell started the men's program back in 1959 and amassed 13 trips to the NCAA tournament prior to being inducted into the International Volleyball Hall of Fame. It's safe to say the name Don Shondell is worthy of being included in the Active Ankle Challenge. And on Ball State's new practice center, his son Steve Shondell is working PA tonight, and the legendary coach himself, Don, is also in the house.
Thanks, Jack. An incredible 34 seasons for Don Shondell. An excellent career he put together. And Steve Shondell, the women's volleyball coach, over 100 wins during his career here in Muncie, and both of them compiling such a history in Ball State and commemorating that with a new facility coming up.
The Shondell name really established the brand of Ball State volleyball and is why this is the volleyball capital of the world. And Coach Walton has continued that brand and that excellence here all the way into 2017 as the Cardinals now lead 20-16. A first set victory would be huge. They can't commit those errors. Chev sends it into the net.
This is where Penn State becomes so deadly, Alex. We mentioned all the service errors that continue to pile up on both sides, but against USC, Penn State took right advantage of that. They lost the first and third sets, but in between, when Penn State took advantage of that USC errors, it was in the second, fourth, and fifth sets, and they walked away with the victory.
And we talked about how Penn State had an excellent match against USC with Nugent putting up 22 kills, Mendy putting up 25. USC is no slouch. They're one of 2 teams outside of the top 15 still receiving votes. So realistically, you'd place them at around 17. That's a great opponent, and to be able to put up performances like that is no slouch.
Weiler serves, and Albrecht puts it down. Penn State within 4. Rather, back within 3.
Ball State sees the win in sight here with this first set. But Penn State serving well with Mendy back on the line.
Walsh sends it home, gives Ball State back to 4-point advantage.
It had been a touch too long since they went to that. Walsh ready there on the kill. Gross sets him up so well.
And one of the things that Ball State does so well is when Gross sets it up, it looks, Alex, like it's going to go to Shevs, but then it goes to Walsh, and Penn State couldn't contain it.
It can go anywhere. Gross does an excellent job of setting up his team, and they have great communication in that way, but it also makes it so difficult for teams to defend. Gross always, he's a great character. Always has great composure and really is a motivator for this team, and his volleyball IQ is just off the charts.
This time puts it down with the left hand, a backdoor toss.
Those transition moments are huge, and when you know how to do it, it can really change the face of a set. 23-19 now in favor of the Cardinals with Gross back on the line. He's no slouch back there either.
Just 2 points away from putting away the first set. Serene rises up. Goes for Weiler. Braswell contesting that he was not out of bounds before hitting it, but the referees award it to Ball State. Set point coming up, 5-point lead for the Cardinals.
Luke Braswell able to chase it down and send it over, but called out of bounds. We get a timeout with Penn State on the ropes. A lot of opportunity here. Ball State needs to close with confidence and carry that over to the second set.
Both teams have been so good so far this year in extending a game with those runs. So far we're seeing that from Ball State, a couple of 4-0 runs to put them in this 5-point advantage. 1 point to go, Penn State, a little bit of regrouping during this timeout.
And neither one of these teams is going to go on a 7, 8, 9-point run, I don't believe. Last night we saw it with Ball State. They're able to put together 4 or 5 runs consistently, and that completely changes the face of the set. Last night specifically with St. Francis, we saw it quite a few times, got down 3 points, put some runs together, and were able to walk away with a 27-25 set 3 victory and the match. So Ball State does do a great job of extending things, but this is one where no service errors, no attack errors. You need to play smart and conservative and maybe try a change of pace up near the net, maybe Mitch Weiler at the back line. All those things can have caught Penn State by surprise so far.
And Alex, one of the things that jumped off the chart yesterday against St. Francis on the Cardinals side was that hitting percentage. Nearly 37 today, upwards of 39. So a good start. Ball State limiting those attack errors. The service errors have been a problem. That was early on in the first set here, but now starting to take advantage of those situations and putting it down.
And Gross has a similar serve to Pia and Serene. Not a lot of speed to it, not a lot of rotation, but keeps it in play and gives his team an opportunity to defend, which is what they do best.
Gross sets it in. Ball State 1 point away from the first match. Going to the Ball State side, and an error does it. Ball State takes set 1. The Don Shondell Active Ankle Challenge has gone Ball State's way. 4 sets, 4-0 during those sets so far for the Cardinals.
And Braswell tried to flip that thing back over, unsuccessful, and Penn State almost shoots themselves in the foot as the Cardinals win set 1, 25-19 here in Muncie.
need you right now. 'Cause I need you right now. Don't let me down. Wow. Look at all these storylines we still have in front of us.
I know. I haven't even flipped it over.
Let's
do something Penn State.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's talk
Want to do last season?
end of their last year, yeah.
Yep.
We'll hit on that because we haven't talked about it yet. The Don Shondell Active Ankle Challenge going Ball State's way so far in Muncie. A set 1 victory against number 14 Penn State. Here inside Worthen Arena. Alex, so far in that first set, it was dominance by the freshman and Matt Shevs, but also the service errors that played a problem on the Penn State side.
Just as you said, Penn State with 7 errors here early on. Ball State did a nice job, only 2, but it really has kind of been Shevs and Nugent going back and forth with each other. Shevs with 5 kills, Nugent with 6, both hitting near 500, playing excellent. Look to see Matt Walsh get more involved for the Cardinals and Calvin Mendy, for Penn State. And the other big thing for the Cardinals, Brennan Serrain only with 1 kill in the first set. There you can see 6 kills from Nugent, 5 from Shevs. The errors being the difference between the two, and really errors was the tail of the first set, with the Cardinals coming away with the first set victory, 25-19.
A good hit percentage, though, by both, over that 40 mark for Shevs. He's an even 50% as the two teams switch sides in set number 2. This is where Penn State picked up their momentum against USC. They lost that first set close, but then in set 2 picked it right back up, and that's where they started to feel the momentum. That's when Nugent got hot, and that's where the Nittany Lions really start to thrive.
Exactly right, Mick. Ball State struggled a little bit against St. Francis in set 2, and then set 3 it really was back and forth between the two. They're on the second night of a back-to-back, so the energy will become a storyline as we move from set 2, 3, and maybe 4. Look to see if we see some substitutions, guys like Anthony Liebrick, Mike Scannell possibly coming into the game for the Cardinals, some nice alternates that can provide a change of pace for the offense, and then Liebrick defensively done an excellent job so far this season.
Albrecht with 3 kills on the Nittany Lions side, but it really was Shevs, Walsh, and Weiler once again. Those were the 3 that had the big impact yesterday against St. Francis. And the red flash, you said it, they were in each match during that point. But Ball State walked away with the 3 victories in each set. Parker Schwartz starts it off a service error. Penn State early 1-0 lead in set 2.
Parker Schwartz is known for his serving, and that's when a lot of the situations he has are for serving. But last night and tonight, 3 or 4 errors on his side, no aces. He's got to hone it in and keep the ball in play for his serve to be deadly.
Braswell to serve. Walsh there, puts it near the corner.
Just the 3rd kill for Walsh. Working him through the middle was the key last night early against St. Francis, and he's found success so far here. Gross needs to find it maybe a few more times.
Set up for Nugent. Nails it down in the corner. 7 kills.
Nugent just found Shevs looking there on the far side. Shevs knew it, said my bad, but Nugent back on the service line, and he's done a nice job here early of serving.
Nugent's 4 kills per set, top 10 in the nation so far through those 2 matches. Weiler sets it right down in front of Braswell. The officials confirm point Ball State.
There was some question as if Weiler touches the net. Let's see here on the replay. Oh yeah, he did make contact. Perhaps a missed call. The point right now sits with Ball State.
And now the officials set to convene together. Luke Braswell, the head of the Penn State offense,
Watch Weiler's hand on the follow-through. Yeah, catches the net there.
This would be some momentum for Penn State to try and widen their lead. Haven't been able to take that advantage yet against Ball State. Long discussion as Ron Rodriguez and David Sands confirm. And they'll change it to a replay.
Yeah, they're going to replay it.
Too hard to tell which side it goes. The officials decide to replay the point, swiped off the board. Mark Pavlik, Penn State pleading his case as to why he should have had the point instead of a retry.
And talking to Mark Pavlik earlier this week, he mentioned to us how he's so focused on practice. So you get one more look at Weiler's follow-through and the reason for this replay. Watch that movement on the net, yep. Weiler's right hand on the follow-through catches the net, so we're going to get a replay. But Mark Pavlik focuses on practice a lot. I mean, every coach does, but really puts an emphasis and works them hard in practice. And then in game time is a little more sit back and let them play the game. And if you watch him on the sidelines, his demeanor is exactly that. He understands he has veteran players and a lot of guys with high volleyball IQ that they know what they're doing out there. And one of those guys would be Chris Nugent, the senior.
Albrecht has been active on the Penn State side. Braswell sets. Mendy, the left-handed swat, and it's down.
Mendy and Albrecht have done a nice job here early. As Mendy able to put it down. His 6'11" height, enough to get over Matt Walsh. But both of them on the outside could be the difference because the focus is on Nugent. Everyone in the nation knows he can play. So honing in on those X factors like Mendy and Albrecht could be huge for Penn State.
Braswell and Mendy collide, find it over the net. Weiler straight down. Puts Ball State back on the board.
One of the few times Ball State's been able to get a straightaway kill. Penn State done an excellent job on the net, being able to at least get a touch on it and keep it alive. Weiler right down that far line.
3 kills on the evening.
Nugent again there on that back line. He's got such a wide range across the floor that even when he serves, he's able to come right back on the return.
Walsh too long, 6'11", clear past the out of bounds line, and now it's 6-2 lead in favor of Penn State. That's their largest of any set so far today.
Matt Calloway there in the middle, standing at 6'7", has a tough job going up against Walsh. He's done decent so far as Kevin Gear commits a service error. But with Mendy playing on that far outside, it creates a mismatch for both teams because Walsh has the height in the middle and Gear the height on the outside. So, but whoever wins that matchup could be the difference.
Nugent a soft touch in the middle. Serene smacks down, but Nugent waits for it.
We've been waiting for Serene to deliver another one, just his second kill of the night, and it couldn't come at a better time. On that far pin, able to get a deflection off the block. No one from the Nittany Lions able to get there.
Braswell for Albrecht, blocked right at the net by Gross. Emotion showed, Ball State within 1 in set 2.
Connor Gross's defense has gotten a lot better here early in the season as he's able to get the block, solo block against Albrecht. But his defense has improved, and that could be a big component down the stretch for the Cardinals if he's able to provide some type of interior defense when Matt Walsh does come off the floor.
Mendy set to serve, a 2-point lead on the Penn State side. Mendy left-handed touch. Him and Shevs both the lefties. And it's Pia in the middle.
Pia and Walsh have found success through the middle. Connor Gross just has to find him a little bit more. We haven't seen too much change of pace. We saw it a lot last night with St. Francis, but these teams both hard hitters, giving it all the power they can.
Braswell ranges all the way over to the other media side, saves it. Set for Serene. Serene gave it a look, thought about going to the other side, but lets it go, and Penn State back on front by 2.
Penn State does such an excellent job carrying out long points. Any minor deflection they get, someone always seems to come underneath it, and it makes a difference when they can extend points and working fatigue, especially they're on their first night of play, whereas Ball State played last night. The longer the points go, the more it favors Penn State.
And Serene there once again. The middle is his game.
Serene warming up here in set 2. Him and Pia delivered a couple nice strikes. Right in between the defenders in the center of the floor. Nothing Penn State could do about that one.
Nugent steals one back off the Ball State defense and fingertips. Nugent so far tonight, his normal self.
Match leading 8 kills, 4 digs to go with it. Weiler stuffed by that Penn State defense. Braswell and Gear all over it.
Shevs does not have a point or a kill so far in the second set after 5 in the first. Right on cue, puts one down. Shevs is back here in the second set.
I think you may have heard you, Mick. You made him mad. You woke the beast. Now Shevs with 6 kills. Now in this match, able to send it onto the opposite side and put all 6'11" of Calvin Mendy on his rear end.
This time Mendy gets it right back. Lefty on lefty matchup we're seeing.
We thought it might be 6'11" Mendy versus 6'11" Walsh, but it's turning into Mendy and Shevs going back and forth on the opposite pins.
Mendy now second on the team with 4 kills tonight. And an error by the Penn State attack.
8 attacking errors for Penn State and only 6 for Ball State. They've had 4 here in this second set, though, after just 2 in the first.
Shev squeaks it past the net. Nugent does the same, but too far out of bounds. Ball State back within just 1. Penn State had a lead of 4 in this set. The Cardinals crawling back.
Ball State does a nice job of putting together those 3 4-point runs, as we mentioned earlier, not allowing an opponent to get out of reach. A little miscommunication there between Shevs and Serene. Shevs stuck the arm out. Serene probably would have had a hold on it. Penn State extends their lead to 2.
Gross, a nifty move. Penn State saw it. Walsh too long. Penn State back up by 3.
Walsh having some slight trouble with his control here tonight. I think that's the second time he's sent that one wide on the opposite side. Has to bring that in and at least give an opportunity for Penn State to knock it out of bounds or something.
Nugent nearing the 50% mark on the hit percentage. And this time too far. Another service error by Penn State.
Chris Nugent out of the back line. See it once again. Right down the middle. Weiler gets bent over his right ankle and just can't get underneath it. Bobby Wilden, the 6'8" freshman, into the match.
Gross turned around, didn't see it. Beautiful execution by Penn State. They lead by 4, 15-11. But coming up next, we'll talk a little bit about Matt Shevs and the nicknames that he presents for this Ball State men's volleyball team and the freshman impact he has been able to provide. Ball State trails by 4, Penn State on top.
I think a few of them are just because people don't know how to say my last name, but it goes anywhere from Sazuz, Fez. The Weatherman is another one.
Why the Weatherman?
It's I wore a jersey from my rec basketball team in high school, and we were called the Weathermen, and our team motto was 100% chance of rain. So I just wore that, and then it kind of stuck.
Matt Shevs, the freshman, making such an important impact so far on this Ball State team, but also it's tough for a lot of people to try and say his name spelled different than it sounds, but Shevs, such a fun player just to be around to watch, and so far impact is off the charts.
As our producer, Chris Taylor, likes to call him Zeus, he plays like Zeus sometimes. I wonder how often he does get that one. The other interesting thing about all these volleyball players, you sit down and you start talking to them, and you know these guys obviously are 6'8", 6'11", 6'6", and they almost always get mistaken for basketball players. Shevs said later on in that interview that he could be wearing all men's volleyball stuff, even a jersey, and they'd ask, "You play for the basketball team?" Height can be deceiving.
That's one question I've never been asked.
Yeah, me neither.
Penrose back. First action in set 2. Saw some playing time in the first set, but 2 service errors, and he was back out quickly. Back on the attack, Serene there, right through the middle.
Serene's been quiet, but he's warmed up a little more in this second set, now with 4 kills. Royce Clemens, the libero, not able to get underneath it.
Gross the left, slow touch into the air. Sets it up, Mendy. The slam, Serene all the way on the other side, saves it back to the other side, but effort by Serene not rewarded as it goes Penn State's way, lead back to 3.
Albrecht back up to serve, 1 ace on the year, but he sits 3rd on the team in kills with 16.
Albrecht straight in the net.
Penn State has played much better in this second set, and in the first set, 25-19 is a score that is a little bit off. They were in at every set of the match. Ball State able to pull away in the end of that first set. But Penn State come out with a little more aggression here late. And those service errors can lead to runs, and Penn State does not want to allow Ball State to sneak away here at the end again.
That time Braswell couldn't get over the net. Blocked on the kill attempt. And that draws a timeout by Penn State as their lead is just 1. And after a set 1 victory on the Ball State side, Penn State up by 1. And Ball State rearing right back into this one.
Penn State responding to this match in the second set, similar to how they did against USC, as you mentioned earlier. They have a great response to losing in set 1.
1 point lead for Penn State. Let's send it down to the third member of our broadcast crew in Jack Kaiser.
Thanks, Mick. Ball State's Matt Walsh and Penn State's Chris Nugent may be on different teams, but are quite familiar with each other. The two upperclassmen played together on the 2015 junior national team. Now, Nugent was much more highly touted coming out of high school, as he was named to the Volleyball Magazine's All-American team. Walsh, on the other hand, really made a name for himself once he got to Ball State when he was named to the Freshman All-American team in 2015. Both of these players were impressive 2 years ago, and they've certainly progressed even further since their time together that summer. Nugent has outplayed his former teammate with 9 kills already.
It has been an impressive performance both by Nugent and by Walsh during their careers, respectively. Nugent leading this Penn State team, and how he's been able to compile a career and put together just an impressive 3 years, now in the 4th year. 3-time EIVA Player of the Week during his career, and just continues to impress.
Spent some time with Matt Walsh talking about his Team USA playing career, and he mentioned, we were talking about how he's so tall and standing at 6'11", but he said he's played some guys on the Polish and Russian national teams that are 7'1", 7'2", where even he feels a little bit small, which I'm sure is an odd position for him.
It's incredible that a 6'11" player could be outsized.
I know, right?
Ball State right back in it. Ties it up for the first time in the second set since the early going. Penn State's controlled it, but it's Alex Pia.
Gets his left hand right on it, back into some of the dead space in the middle of the floor. Serain serving. We've noted that as the key to some of these runs by the Cardinals. And here they come, taking the lead here in set 2.
In front of the second set for the first time. It's been Weiler, Serain, and Pia these last couple of points. Serain once again to serve. Tap back and forth by both teams. Gross set, Serain slams. Weiler back, and it pops out of bounds. But a dive and a save by Braswell sets up Shevs. An impressive rally by both sides. Nugent finishes it off.
Gross reached back, got a finger on it. But what a play from Luke Braswell. As he runs all the way over, tumbling over the scorer's table. And Penn State able to come away with the point.
Giving up his body for the benefit of the team. It gives Penn State the point and ties it back up in the second set. Back and forth it's gone. The first set, a 6-point win on the Cardinals side, but here in the second, Penn State and Ball State going head to head.
And we knew these two would go point for point. But man, through these first 2 sets, all tied up at 18 here in set 2. The Cardinals have responded. Penn State able to keep that ball alive almost every single rally. Ball State has found more success in the middle, and if they can push it to Walsh and Pia, maybe look for Gross in a transition play. It's been effective, but Nugent slowed down a little, just a hair, in this second set. 9 kills so far. Shevs leads the Cardinals with 6.
The national rankings, Ohio State stands alone, the defending national champions, 3-0 on the season. Then UCLA, who beat Penn State, 3-1. Penn State and Ball State, the last 2 eligible ranked teams in the standings, but one has to think that both of these teams will tiptoe their way up as the season goes on.
Penn State able to get a win against a team just outside of the rankings in USC. Ball State did the same last night against St. Francis. Both of these teams have played top 10 talent. Ball State taking on Hawaii. Penn State, as you previously mentioned, defeated by UCLA early. Similar starts to their seasons, which is why a win right here could be a huge confidence booster as the season progresses.
McLaurin checked in for the first time. A service error into the net. That gives Ball State the lead and possession back. And they'll send a veteran Alex Pia to serve, the senior from Johns Creek, Georgia, the first ever Division I volleyball player from the state of Georgia. Braswell sets. Albrecht right through the middle, tied back up.
Some communication errors on the back line. Levanchi, Serain, Gross, and Serena have given Penn State some points. Players have been in position, just need to communicate on that back line to keep the play alive.
It's also been the passing of Braswell, who's back to serve now. 23 assists. Weiler down, Braswell saves it. Walsh. Albrecht and Nugent team up to slam it down, and Penn State back up by 1. But Braswell, his brother Steven, played in this building just yesterday with St. Francis. And now Luke in, 23 assists. It's been Braswell to Nugent, Braswell to Albrecht. That combination has been deadly here in the set 2.
Walsh once again sends it out. His third attacking error of the evening. And it couldn't come at a worse time. Penn State now leading 21-19, and Coach Walton has to take a timeout to get his team together.
Braswell, just a redshirt freshman from Manchester, Pennsylvania. A career high 62 assists in that last match against USC. He's already over the century mark in just now 3 matches, not even 3 matches for Penn State. Already impressing, and head coach Pavlik has spoken so highly of him coming in to this Nittany Lion program and making an immediate impact. He's already voiced how he can play and how he can be a captain on this team. And there's so many veterans within this Nittany Lion team, Alex, but the freshmen have stepped right in and made it look easy.
Yeah, and in high school, a 2-time state champion. As you mentioned, he played with his brother who plays for St. Francis. You have to wonder if Luke gave Steven a call last night to scout out the team he'd be taking on here inside of Worthen Arena. But no, Luke is a huge hustle player, and he's huge in keeping the ball alive. Like you saw him sacrifice his body over the scorer's table. He's been key in a lot of these chasing down of the ball to keep Penn State alive, and most of the time Penn State comes away with the point.
And 2 years ago during his senior year, named on the Volleyball Magazine Fab 50, 3 of those members on the Penn State side. Donning the blue, they're up by 2. After the timeout by Coach Walton. Levanchi sets, perfect chance for Penn State. Clemens sets, guess who? It's Nugent.
Nugent playing outstanding. 12 kills just in the second set. 2 of Penn State's last points. The senior coming in big time when his team needs him.
Chevs across his body, too far out of bounds, and Penn State inching closer to a set 2 victory, up by 4, 2 points away.
And those errors we mentioned that were such a problem out in Hawaii are coming back to bite the Cardinals.
Timeouts seem to help Penn State regroup and refocus nearing the end of the set. Beautiful dig by Braswell. Another point, Penn State.
Uncharacteristic mental error from Connor Gross. Ball State almost handing this set away here in the late.
Set point, it's Braswell. 24 assists, 2 aces. Goes for Chevs. Blocked but out of bounds. Ball State stays alive.
Chevs, a nice delivery. He's been struggling, although he leads the team now with 7 kills. It hasn't come as easy as it was last night. Penn State's done an excellent job on the block, limiting his presence.
Braswell set up. for Albrecht, and that does it in the second set. Penn State steals it back, all knotted up at 1. And Penn State showing their dominance in the second set here today, led by Nugent with 12 kills.
Responded very well. Cardinals have to go into the locker room and regroup. A handful of mental errors, attack errors, uncharacteristic of this team. But they have to regroup and perhaps see some of those substitutions now as we get into the third set.
All knotted up, 1 set apiece. Let's send it down to Jack Kaiser, who's with Nittany Lions head coach Mark Pavlik.
Thanks, Mick. Coach, after a tough first set loss, what changed in that second set that enabled you guys to get that victory?
We just hit the court. We gave them 10 points in game 1, and you give a Ball State team 10 points and only have to have them go to 15 while you have to go to 25. You dig a hole for yourself that we couldn't come out of.
Chris Nugent with double-digit kills already. What has he done this match and really all season that's been so difficult for opponents to handle?
He's just got such a quick swing, and he's off the ground really quick. He's one of those guys I think it's tough for a block unless they're lined up in front of him. And those have been the 2 blocks that they've gotten him on, where they know where it's going there in front of him. When we're in system, when he has a good approach, he's awfully tough to stop.
Thanks, Coach.
All knotted up at 1 set apiece. Penn State takes set 2, 25-20. Halftime intermission coming up next on ESPN3.
It was done this week. It was about the Ball State brand. You're pushing talkback. I can't. Are you talking to me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Joel Walton earlier this week. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Scoot closer to you. Act like I like you.
Just try and act.
Penn State and Ball State all knotted up at 1 set apiece through 2 in the Don Shondell Active Ankle Challenge, day number 2. Alex Thomas alongside Mick Tidrow. In that first match, it was all about the offensive attack by Ball State, but in that second set, it was Chris Nugent doing what he does so well.
Chris Nugent was no joke, and the Cardinals haven't defended him very well. He's been able to come out of the back line quite a few times, while Penn State has defended Matt Shevs quite nicely.
Head coach Joel Walton of the Ball State Cardinals looks to regroup in the locker room, and he also caught up with Ball State Sports Link earlier this week out of practice.
Why should people pay attention to Ball State volleyball? And as we go into a time of the year where the NCAA women's volleyball tournament is taking place, and as you sit back and look at what Ball State men's volleyball has meant to volleyball in the United States, all you have to do is start looking at the number of programs, high school programs, college programs, club programs, where Ball State trained people are out making an impact in people's lives and how they play this game. It's extremely significant. We tell our recruits and their families every time we bring somebody on campus that the education component of what a college athlete does needs to be the most important thing, and it really does. And we feel very good about showing people around Ball State, giving them an opportunity to become familiar with the academic programs that we have here on campus. We know that an education from Ball State is going to prepare people to go on and be successful in life. And so if we're putting out into the world guys that go out and they're successful in their lives and they have resources that they can give back to the program, you know, that's a win-win. So I think that's a part of it. We want our guys to feel, as they go through our program, that they're part of a family, and that this is an experience that has made their college days more memorable, more rich. So many people have come through our program and either had Don Shondell or myself mentor them, or they've had other people in this area. Steve Shondell has mentored so many people and helped them on their path to becoming coaches. All of these things are why I cherish the time that I've had here at Ball State, and I relish the fact that I've had an opportunity to impact many people's lives, and I've become a part of this Ball State family of volleyball lovers, of volleyball fanatics. You know, we talk sometimes and joke about people coming here and becoming infected with volleyball, and you get a sickness. And I know for myself, when I left Ball State with my business degree and I went out and I worked for a couple of years in business, 1.5 of those years I worked for Nabisco. I had a great job, I had a company car, I was on the way up, but I missed volleyball. I missed being a part of a team, being part of something that every year is a new year and you get to build what that team becomes. I just missed that too much, and so when I had an opportunity to come back and coach and be part of the Ball State family again, I jumped at it.
Still my days, chilling out, relaxing, sleep on people outside of the corner.
Did you get that?
No.
All Penn State highlights are going to be Nugent, Chevs, all Ball State's highlights. Nugent first and then
Nugent
Chevs.
first, then Chevs. Okay. We're up at top. That's where we are.
Welcome back inside Worthen Arena. 1-1, it's all tied up. Let's send it back down to Jack Kaiser, the third member of our crew, who's with Ball State's head coach, Joe Walton.
Thanks, Mick. Coach, a nice first set, but Penn State responded. What was the difference between those two sets?
Offense. We had good offense in game one. We didn't have any offense in game two, and so Penn State battled their way back. We got stuck in rotation, and they got on a point-scoring run and just overpowered us at that point in the match. It was right around 19-19, and all of a sudden they've got a 5-point gap.
How do you change that so the offensive production gets back in the third set?
Well, we've been passing the ball well. Connor Gross has a good ball to work with, and we're getting some one-on-one situations that Penn State made some really good plays on. They were playing good defense toward the end. Our guys they have to get in rhythm, keep swinging aggressively. I don't think Penn State can sustain the level of defense that they played at the end of game two. We've just got to find our offensive rhythm.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Chris Nugent in the first two sets, dominant as usual. And head coach Joel Walton talked about how this defense has to stay within themselves and try and defend Nugent. And the first two sets were all Nugent.
Absolutely, as he was able to respond from the back line, off of services. Everything that was tossed his way, he put on point or hit it off of fingertips. The power he's able to put behind his kill is a difference maker and tough for anyone to face.
His senior year going well so far. Nugent already on the path with 12 kills in that first half, but it was Matt Chevs in the first couple of matches during this Ball State season. Here today, leads Ball State in kills, but only with 7.
Only 7, as you mentioned. It's a slight number down for him, but he's able to get a couple clean attempts on the ball, and when he's been able to do that, he's been successful. You have to give credit to Penn State for defending him well, as Coach Walton mentioned. He does need to keep up the intensity, though, and the effort here into this set 3.
Chevs, the highly touted freshman, looks to bounce back in set 3 with this Ball State Cardinals. And the first two set statistics, Luke Braswell with 25 assists, Not near that 62 assist mark he held at USC, but that helped set up Penn State in the second set. Kills nearly even, the statistics all the way along the board. Fairly even except for that bottom one. Hitting percentage yesterday in favor of Ball State against St. Francis, but right now, Penn State dominating it.
Penn State played excellent defense in set 2, as Coach Walton mentioned. But they aren't typically a stout defensive team like Ball State is. So look to see if they can continue that through set 3. If they can, Penn State's offense can carry them on the other end. Ball State has to bring the offense together. Connor Gross distributing the ball. And look for Serene and Chevs to get the ball moving a little bit more. Pia had some nice runs. Weiler there late in set 2. But the stars for Ball State need to show up a little bit more.
1-1 Penn State, ranked 14th in the country. In Worthing to take on this 15th ranked Ball State team, 3-1 on the season. Tough schedules on both sides. The Nittany Lions bounce back after their first loss of the season to UCLA in their season opener with the win against USC. It was the second, fourth, and fifth sets that went their way. The third after intermission is where Penn State has so far struggled this year as well. Back in play is Sheds with the tap over the net. Those sets, Serene down with it. Set 3 goes to Ball State to start.
Beautiful kill there from Serene. Able to take it narrowly towards the opposite line. And that's what he lacked in the first 2 sets. He didn't have clean hits on the ball. Trying to force it between the defenders. Finds a good angle and is able to put him away.
Connor Gross to serve. 167 assists on the season. Replacing the production lost by Iago Garchette, the starting setter from a year ago. Tipped off the fingertips. Penn State with their first point in the third set. It's Nugent back. And that was one thing head coach Joe Walton, Alex, talked a lot about. Gross and filling in that void left by Garchette. And Gross has done everything he can handle here in this first season as the starter.
It's been a seamless transition, and we mentioned his IQ is off the charts good. He's delivering nice balls. Penn State's playing good defense, so the problems are more at the net rather than in the setting. Gross has been serving well to complement his setting and assists.
But his counterpart, Luke Braswell, an impressive performance so far everywhere in the middle. Nugent serves, sets up for Chevs. And the freshman back in at 8th kill of the evening.
Cardinals need to look to go change of pace a few more times in this set. Both these teams are hard hitting and they're both expecting that. So if you can switch it up, you can get a couple swing points, maybe a transition from Connor Gross, and it could turn the set in the favor of the Cardinals.
Serene the hard serve. Albrecht stuffed by Pia.
That's the defense the Cardinals are used to. Alex Pia at the net. Says, not today, Albrecht.
We've already seen the impact that Serene has had when he's serving and then glides right back into the rotation on defense. It seems to work that way with Ball State, and it's effective.
When he finds success on the first serve, they usually are able to put together a run. Penn State able to get the stop. Ball State needs to respond with defense.
Kevin Gear, the redshirt junior. Gear with 6 kills, 4 digs, and 4 blocks against USC. Those are all season highs. His career high, 8 kills versus NGIT early on in last year. Serene the tap. Confusion among the Nittany Lions, and Ball State steals a point.
Just in that rally alone, 3 different times the Nittany Lions and the Cardinals tried to go change of pace. And just a confusion in the face between Mindy and Braswell. Let it fall to the ground, and point goes to the Cardinals.
What a save by Serene to let that happen. And then Penn State, the confusion shown. It's Pia back. We haven't seen much of Matt Walsh serving. He had 3 service errors in the first set, hasn't served since.
Coach Walton finding ways to use the rotation to avoid that if he's not going to be able. He goes with the hot hand, and right now Walsh does not have the hot hand serving.
Unable to maximize his blocking ability as Walsh is there in the middle. Ball State a 2-point lead, 5-3 in the third set.
That defense never appears for the 6'11 Walsh. Just an absolute monster on the net. Not today, Mendy.
It's been a rotation of Pia, Serene, and Gross to serve in the last couple of sets on the Ball State side. Weiler gives for Shevs on the right side.
The redshirt senior Matt Calloway there, second on the team in blocks with 5. Denies Shev an opportunity at the net.
Calloway did start, has seen playing time in and out so far this evening, but he's one of those players that stuffs the stat sheet, does everything well. Set up Albrecht, too far outside, point Ball State tied back up.
Good identification by Connor Gross to let that one fly out of bounds. Ball State maintaining this 2-point lead. They need to create some separation here early.
There it is once again, Serene right up the middle.
Serene and Shevs have responded in this third set. After struggling in set 2, Gross, a beautiful setup. Serene, so much power behind that kill. It's tough to defend.
Gross up to 22 assists. Yesterday against St. Francis, a career high 39. Serene this time denied by Albrecht.
Calloway and Albrecht right at that line. Denies Serene any opportunity.
Gross came in to this season with just 65 career assists, sitting behind Garchette. That was the most among active returners. And he's really flipped that and helped out this team with the assists already piling up in these first 5 matches.
Walsh with a little enthusiasm there. He's a very quiet guy, straight-faced no matter what the situation in the game is, but he's done a better job this year of communicating. That's something Coach Walton said that they needed from him. They needed a leader out of him, now a junior, and he's found a way to do that with his energy and his play.
Walsh with 4 kills, but Calloway back in on the action with the kill. And Calloway last year against Ball State in their first match, 78 hit percentage against the Cardinals, maximized his chances with 9 kills. So far effective when he's played. Shevs with the kill.
Splits it right between Gear and Nugent as the Nittany Lions watch it fall to the floor. There's another look. Actually goes off the hands of Gear.
Walsh back to serve. First time since the first set. Braswell sets up Nugent once again. Combination working, 1-2 punch. 2-point lead.
Nugent's first kill of this third set. Ball State came out of halftime and defended him well, forcing the ball away from him.
Gross, Pia, little touch pass. Nugent denied. Levanchi, Serene, point Ball State.
Serene's found success at that angle. He did it once before earlier in this set, able to find a deflection off the inside. Serene now up to 7 kills, right behind Shevs with 9 for the team high. Pia defensively, it's what he's known for. Gives Ball State a 4-point lead. These are those little runs. Pia all over it, even with the height disadvantage.
Pia with already 5 blocks today, came into the season with 6.
And that shows you the defensive difference between these two teams. Pia with 5 blocks in this match alone. whereas the Nittany Lions leader, Kevin Gear, has 6 on the whole season. That shows the defensive brand Coach Walton was talking about at halftime.
Nugent's been all over the place, back to serve. His defense has been much improved so far today as Chevs buries one in the corner. Nugent with 6 digs total coming into today, but now 7 tonight. He's really put his game into a whole new level, turning that defense into offense, but there Chevs, nice crease he found in the corner.
Nugent and Braswell's elevated play, being able to dig it out and chase away fly balls, has allowed rallies to continue. Ball State now with a 5-point advantage, 13-8. Coach Pavlik's going to need a timeout to talk with his team.
Penn State on their heels, timeout called. 5-point differential. Penn State trails after winning that second set, and Matt Chevs showing off his ability once again. 10 kills so far today.
Chevs able to get a deflection there off of Mendy. And that gives the Cardinals the 13-8 lead here in the third set.
We've been really good for the past number of years at playing defense, at game planning for opponents and making it difficult for our opponents to hit at what their normal offensive efficiencies are. We've been very good at that, and our guys have really bought into kind of a rugged and tough-nosed defensive mentality. Our blocking, our backcourt defense, those things have been great.
Coach Walton talking about that defensive presence we were talking about before. Alex Pia and Matt Walsh define that type of blue-collar, rugged, tough-nosed defensive mindset. It's played key here in this third set with Walsh and Pia able to get some decent blocks.
The offense and defense coming together for Pia. 6 blocks today. Came in with the 6 the entire season. The lead is now 5 on the Ball State side. The aforementioned Pia to serve. Backdoor slam by Walsh. It looked like it was going to Chevs, but instead it's Walsh right down the middle.
I believe it was Albrecht, just barely got a finger on it. Otherwise, that was flying out of bounds. Walsh fortunate there to get a deflection. Gross, just not able to get underneath it. And we see Calvin Mendy now up to 8 kills. One thing we saw last night was St. Francis really had a Jeff Hogan and Michael Fisher all by themselves, didn't have much help. But you look down the line at Penn State, Chris Nugent leading with 13 kills, Mendy with 8, and then 2 players, Kevin Gear and Albrecht, with 5. So that spread out scoring has been the difference between tonight and last night for Ball State opponents.
Penrose slams one over the net on the serve. Walsh slams it right back, and Ball State up by 6, ties their largest lead.
That serve from Penrose is tough to handle. Serene did a nice job getting underneath of it. And Walsh able to finish it right back at Penrose. 16-10, Ball State on top. Albrecht, a nice job, able to squeeze it in between Connor Gross and Matt Walsh. Albrecht slowly putting together a very nice match. 6th kill on the night for the 6'8" junior.
Nugent's been quiet here in set 3, just 1 kill. That's also resulted in such a wide margin of lead. And a service error. Ball State back by 6.
Those are the service errors that killed Penn State in the first set, and those same type of errors killed Ball State in the second set. So this game has come down to a matter of who can commit the least amount of errors. Matt Walsh, such a leader by example, able to slam it home.
Nugent stops the bleeding on the Penn State side after a mini run by Ball State. So far the timeouts taken have seemed to favor Ball State coming out of a run.
Ball State has done a nice job of putting together those runs, and specifically in this set, they've been more of the attacking mindset. Penn State played more aggressive in the first and second set, but out of halftime, Ball State has come out offensively looking to fire on all cylinders. Serain. A lovely kill to give Ball State an even larger lead.
Penn State's had no answers so far, Alex, for the middle game by Serain. Starts on that left side, works it around, finishes in the middle. Ball State by 7, a touch. Set for Serain. This time too far.
Yeah, just a missed timing there on that pass from Connor Gross. But Coach Walton said at halftime that Penn State wasn't going to be able to maintain this defensive presence that they had in set 2. And so far, he's been right. The deflection flies out of bounds off the hands of Pia and Serain. Penn State trying their best to hang on, but it seems almost every time they catch a break, Ball State is able to respond in their own way.
Penn State actually leads in the kills department, but also the errors, with 29 total between errors serving and attacking. But then they also have to worry about Chevs and Serain that have caused havoc, especially Serain this set.
Serain with his 9th kill. Doing an excellent job here in this third set of using that senior leadership and really leading this offensive attack from the Cardinals. But Nugent, the offensive leader for Penn State, 15 kills on the night. Ball State slowed him down, but hasn't been able to completely shut him down yet. Frankly, the only way to shut Nugent down is when he commits those type of errors. He's had a handful of attacking and service errors.
Serain with the diving stop. Sets for Weiler. Braswell with another dig. Albrecht. Nice touch by Serain to set once again for Weiler. Touch right over the defense. Weiler saw it, took advantage.
3 defenders standing at 6'11 and 6'8. The 6'4 Weiler had to throw him a little change of pace. Gets the Cardinals the point just over the fingertips of Albrecht.
The hesitation, the levitation by Mitch Weiler gives Ball State a 7-point lead in the third set, 22-15. After a second set loss, Ball State's responded nicely out of the intermission, led by Weiler, Serene, and Walsh here in this third set. Chevs with 10 kills, most of those coming in the first set. Let's send it down to Jack Kaiser on the sidelines.
Mick, Penn State head coach Mark Pavlik is currently in his 22nd season at the helm and has his team ranked 14th in the nation. Now, this success for Pavlik isn't new by any means. Along with winning the national championship in 2008, he has a win percentage of 77 and has compiled nearly 500 victories in his time as head coach. This four-time Conference Coach of the Year success has been aided by a unique style of coaching with more difficult and demanding practice sessions and then a more laid-back approach to the actual match. I mentioned legendary Ball State coach Don Shondell earlier. With all of Pavlik's accomplishments, I think it's fair to say that he should be in the same category as Shondell. So far tonight, Pavlik has kept his demeanor the same, calm, cool, and collected right there on the bench.
Thanks, Jack. Coach Pavlik has been one of the biggest revolutionizers of the game of volleyball during his time at Penn State, compiling a 19-10 season last year, 12-2 in the EIVA.
The 2008 National Coach of the Year. He's not just dominant in the EIVA, but specifically in the EIVA, he has lost 7 matches in 20 years. 223-7. That's outstanding. We mentioned legendary coach, and those are legendary numbers.
The impressive performance by this Penn State Nittany Lions team. They'll need quite the comeback here in set 3 to set up 4. And that'll help. And rather, they'll give that to Serene of Ball State off the fingertips of the Penn State line. The Nittany Lions not too pleased. 9 points separate. Set point up, it's Serene. Weiler in the back, but Penn State keeps it alive.
Weiler almost found the right angle. Sends it just a touch too far. Kevin Gear back to serve for the Nittany Lions. Ball State looks to close out set 3.
Gross sets, Pia. Levanchi to Chevs, but an error on Ball State gives it to Penn State. And a 2-0 run.
I believe it was a double touch on Levanchi in that back line. Ball State just has to keep up this aggressive play they found in set 3, and they'll be able to close this one out.
Just like the rest of the match has gone so far for the Nittany Lions, a service error gives Ball State a set 3 victory. They're up 2-1 after the 25-17 finishing touches on set 3. More coming up next on ESPN 3. Let's make this one the best yet. Serene, he's taking over, man.
He is. That's supposed to be sets.
Yeah. He's really just taking over.
He is.
Please.
I want Penrose to play.
Dude, I do too.
Outside of serving.
Gosh. He can't though, because he's wild.
You gotta let him play though.
He's a
How's
stud.
he gonna develop?
That's why he's a junior and hasn't developed. Pair of ranked opponents inside Worthen Arena. Some fun in Muncie, Indiana. Ball State a 2-1 lead against Penn State in the Don Shondell Active Ankle Challenge. It's day 2 after Ball State a 3-0 victory yesterday against St. Francis. Alex, so far it's been dominated on the offensive end by Ball State, especially in that third set.
Third set was all Serene. He went to town on the Penn State defense, and Penn State played great defense in set 2, but in set 3, Serene figured them out, and they'll have to respond with another big defensive performance.
Matt Shevs has been an impact player all season long on this Cardinals team. 10 here today. That is right behind Serene, who has 11 kills. The hit percentage for Chris Nugent right up around that 40% mark. 15 kills, nearly right around his season average. 22 kills against USC, the high. The errors even with both players. Neither team a block presence, but that hasn't been their game. It's been the offense. Both teams feed it through. The setting by Broswell of Penn State and Gross of Ball State allow these two players to have so much success. But here in that third set especially, it's Brendan Serene's day.
And for Chris Nugent, as we touch on those impact players, Chris Nugent to have 28 total attacks and almost hitting 400 is phenomenal numbers. And he was a little quiet in set 3, as was Shevs. But they're impact players for a reason. They've left a print on this match so far. And as we now get into set 4, where Ball State can look to take the match itself, Shevs needs to step up after Serene's big performance in set 3.
Penn State 1-1 on the season, ranked 14th. One more set though, and Penn State under 500 to start the year. Albrecht quickly responds and gives Penn State the early lead.
Just off the fingertips of Mitch Weiler there in the back line. A nice start for Penn State.
A stuff by Gear, and Penn State out to an early 2-0 lead.
Alex Pia almost did the splits trying to save it down there. But Gear, 2 quick points, as he's able to get the block and send it right back down. No one able to get under it for the Cardinals. Similar defensive intensity seeing here in set 4 as we saw in set 2. Penn State will need it to find themselves in the 5th match.
This is the first time either team has started off on a 3-0 run to open up a set. Albrecht sets. Serene down, Albrecht saves it again, but too far. Ball State back on the board.
Nice job by Ball State. Coming back and able to get on the scoreboard, cut this deficit to 2. Dug out by Levanchi, steals it right out from Weiler. Keeps the play alive. Cardinals able to come away with the point.
Clemens the dig, sets for Albrecht off the fingertips of Gross, and Penn State back right through the middle.
Gross has found himself doing that a handful of times tonight. He's just sticking the hand out, trying to keep it alive with a player right in position directly behind him. Has to be more aware, better communication on that back line. It's what killed the Cardinals in set 2. They can't afford to have that happen in set 4.
And much like last time, these two squads met up in the Don Shondell Active Ankle Challenge, as Pia nails it home. Ball State beat Penn State in 2013, 3-1.
Gross,
similar
the
going on here
one-handed
today.
set. Sorry about that, partner. Gross sets him up with a perfect one-handed set. Pia able to finish it into some dead space.
Nugent the dig. And Serene, a rare attack error.
Yes, coming out of that back line a little bit farther back than he'd like to be. He just hits it right into the top of the net. Serene's come out slow after a very hot set 3. Shevs still quiet. Gear with the service error for the Nittany Lions. Tonight, when the Nittany Lions have been able to control their errors, they look like a completely different team. They are seriously helping out Ball State with the errors.
That's one reason Ball State's kill numbers haven't been up there today, is because of all the attack and service errors. So far today, 14 errors on the serves by Penn State, 18 attack errors. Ball State just 7 service errors. After a couple early on in the first set, they've cleaned that up. Better passing too.
Mitch Weiler able to take it off the block. And ricochets out of bounds.
All knotted up at 5 with Shev's serve. Braswell for Callaway. Too far out of bounds. Ball State their first lead in the 4th set.
Levanchi does a nice job trying to keep his hands away. Levanchi was quiet last night, but done a nice job on the back line.
Penn State saw it the entire way. Callaway knew he had it.
Levanchi almost able to save it, just as I said something. His mobility around the floor is what has gotten him off to such a hot start to his freshman season.
Penn State looking to avoid going 1-2 to start off a season since 2012. The year did not end the way the Nittany Lions wanted to, just 14-12, 5-7 in the EIVA. So an important match here, even though it's early on in the season. Penn State doesn't want to fall behind early.
That one sent a touch too far by Mitch Weiler. I will say Ball State had a lot of service errors in Hawaii, reduced them last night against St. Francis, and have cut them back even more tonight. So the improvement is being seen here as you watch this team. And the Rain Man's Brendan Serrain able to put it down.
Such a nice job from that left side. As Walsh serves it right off the chest of Callaway. Didn't seem to see it coming. And Ball State has turned this one right around.
2-point lead now for the Cardinals. Pia able to keep that alive with his foot. Almost gave the Cardinals a chance, but Nugent shut that down and knew right away he had the point.
Almost the save there by Ball State. Gross sets, Chevs. Penn State active on the block. Gross couldn't finish.
And Gross awkwardly hit that one, trying to keep it in the air. Almost looked like it hit off his elbow. Not enough behind it. This match has been a battle of runs. Seems almost 3 or 4 points back and forth each time. And whoever's able to find that run towards the end has walked away with the victory.
Beautiful save by Braswell, then by Nugent. But a double touch on Penn State. Ball State back in front, 10-9.
Matt Shev still sitting at 10 kills. Been that way since early in the 3rd set. Gross has been going to Pia and Serrain quite a bit.
Braswell had nowhere to go with it.
Kevin Gear almost able to get on the floor and keep that alive. Levanchi and Weiler on that back line able to dive underneath it. before Pia gets the favorable touch off of Gear.
Gross serving has continued to compile the assists here tonight. 38, one shy of tying his career high set yesterday against St. Francis, and the stuff finished down by Gear of Penn State.
That time Gear able to get a full hand on it, send it back to the feet of Serene. Defensively, Gear has played well here tonight.
Off the forearms of Clemens, keeps the rally alive.
Nugent sends that into the net. Not able to get much behind it. Chev's lucky. He had a free ball sent to him right at the net, not able to slam it home, trying to awkwardly reach with his left hand.
Mendy's been quiet, sends it over. Levanchi sets, Chev's Gear there again.
That's 2 big blocks. Kevin Gear here in this 4th set. Chevs tries to go that near angle.
Gear a team high 5 blocks today, came in with 6. Diving stop by Clemens. And the defensive line of Ball State, too much for Penn State.
Weiler and Pia doing a nice job up on that front line. Pia defensively, he almost is like a 3-and-D player in basketball. Great defensively and offensively, super efficient. Doesn't need a lot of touches to be able to make a serious impact offensively.
Chevs had that one made right for him, nobody there. The freshman gives Ball State a 3-point lead in the 4th set. Timeout to Mark Pavlik. The Nittany Lions look to regroup. They trail by 3 points in a potentially decisive 4th set. Ball State leads 2-1 here in the 2nd day of the Don Shondell Active Ankle Challenge. More coming up in set 4 from Worthen. All right, let's definitely come out of this now, Alex, and talk about the end of last year for Penn State.
Yep.
I think that's
a good
what
time
we come out with because, yeah.
I can't hear them if they said something.
30 seconds back.
Okay.
He's gonna. Penn State led early on in the 4th set, but Ball State has put together a run up by 3 in a decisive 4th set inside Worthen Arena. Penn State 1-1 on the season, trying to avoid going 1-2 for the first time since 2012, and how last year ended with the veteran leadership of Nugent and others who have graduated now with the Nittany Lions. They want to try and rebound after a tough loss in that last match against St. Francis.
Last season, they went on an 11-match winning streak, beating Ball State during that winning streak, as well as Lewis, who was a top 5 team at that point, and reached as high as number 6 in the national rankings. And then towards the end of the season, just started to falter and ended up with a tough loss to St. Francis in the EIVA semis, and has snapped a 17-year run of conference championships. It was a rude awakening for this Penn State team, but this year, with Nugent and some other pieces that they have the makings to make another run like that.
And the service error by Pia reels it right back in for the Nittany Lions and a chance to try and close this gap and put on the throttle at the end of the fourth set to take it to 5. But last year, that sour taste in Penn State's mouths, they wanted to try and come out this season with a quick start. Didn't get that against UCLA. And Shevs puts it down. The freshman now 13 kills. And Penn State bounced back against USC, an experienced Trojan squad. But today, experience of Ball State's getting the best of Penn State.
And the run that Penn State went on last year, Ball State had a similar run where they climbed up in the rankings, reaching as high as number 8. And then towards the end of the season, some injuries and things of that nature didn't derail the season, but resulted in a little bit of a disappointing aftertaste when they knew that they had the talent to make a run in the MVBvs tournament. So this year, with the addition of Shevs, replacing Niemczewski, Connor Gross, a seamless transition from Garchette, there's certain possibilities and high hopes from the Cardinals.
So far, it's been the combination of Gross, Pia, and Weiler setting things up in this set, and Penrose back in the match, makes his impact felt immediately and goes back to serve.
And as we mentioned earlier, Mark Pavlik mentioned that Penrose has one of the best arms in the country, but struggles with control issues. So you see right there, when he's able to keep it under control, that's a tough ball to stop. A lot of power behind it, similar to what Nugent has. And as a redshirt junior, Nugent set to graduate in the spring. Penrose could be a likely successor to the honorable mention All-American.
With how Penn State configures their roster, it's a retool every year. It's never a rebuild because of how much success Coach Pavlik has had and what he's able to do with this team. So it's year after year they're in it. Like you mentioned, Alex, that 17-year run of EIVA championships snapped last year. And they come into this year, picked second to win the conference. George Mason picked first because they won last year, and George Mason returns a lot of starters and power-packed offense. But now it's Ball State. Lead is 5, just 6 points away from putting away Penn State, the second game of the Don Shondell Active Ankle Challenge.
They came out of the timeout when it was 14-11, and Ball State has played with that offensive intensity they saw in set 1 and set 3. But at the same time, Penn State defensively has not lived up to what they had in set 2. That's all the difference for Penn State. When they play good defense, their offense doesn't suffer. So if they are able to put together a couple sets of solid defense, they're one of the best teams in the country.
Callaway reels it back in, gives the Nittany Lions a breather. They'll need this last portion of the fourth set and all of the fifth to try and make a comeback.
Serene gets the deflection off Broswell and Callaway. 20-15 now. This is where we've seen errors come into the biggest play. Whoever commits the fewest errors down the stretch will win the match.
Braswell sets Penrose out of bounds. Ball State 4 points away, and we haven't seen a turn that Penn State would have to try and do, a 10-4 run they would have to put on before this one's over. And we haven't seen anything like that so far tonight, as Walsh, after that first set, has cleaned things up on the serves. Serena touch over the tall defense. Penrose rears back too far.
Those are the control issues that we talked about with Penrose. Such power behind it. And it's a similar play to what Nugent has been doing to get him to 16 kills so far coming out of that back line. Penrose not able to control it. It falls out. Ball State 3 points away from a 2-0 weekend.
Timeout goes to Penn State. They look to regroup, and Coach Pavlik has been so good with these regroupings with the Nittany Lions during his coaching career in 22 years. Let's send it down to Jack Kaiser, our third member.
Mick, Ball State looked a little sluggish earlier in their overall play tonight. It could be due to the many miles of travel they endured from their trip to Hawaii last week. Throw in trips to Massachusetts and Connecticut coming up. It'll only get tougher for the Cardinal and White's conditioning. They'll have somewhat of a breather afterwards with a little over a week at home between January 26th and February 4th. Fortunately for Ball State, they're a few points away from overcoming all of that to win against Penn State here.
And Jack, it was a tough road trip down to Hawaii with all those miles traveled, nearly 11,000. And how Ball State gets a little bit of that rest. They have a week. They play Harvard January 20th, and then the next day Sacred Heart on January 21st. So a couple of quick matches here and there, but then that week-long break, a chance to sit back, practice, tighten up those service errors, and get back into the groove.
Starting the season at 4-1 would be a great accomplishment for the Cardinal team, defeating a ranked opponent, hanging tough with the Hawaii team on their home court. All things are pointing up for the Cardinals as Nugent able to bring Penn State a touch closer.
Ball State looking for the second 4-1 start in the last 3 seasons.
Freshman Bobby Wilden entering the match, 6'8". He's back to serve, already has 1 service ace on the year.
Throws. Serene with the finish.
The senior leader has come up big tonight. 13 kills, tied for a team high. And the touch that Nugent got was able to have Connor Gross set up Serene for the kill.
Brennan Serene leads Ball State 14 kills. The senior has showed up to play against Penn State. Penrose slams it home, reels it back in for the Nittany Lions.
Such power from Penrose. He has played well here in this limited time late in set 4. But with Ball State only 2 points away, those errors could be really critical for the Nittany Lions. Shev's able to send it off the chest of Broswell, and Nugent not able to get a hand on it. Ball State 1 point away from starting the season 2-0 at home.
Looking for their they're looking for a 2-0 start at home for the 5th time in the last 11 years. 1 point away from doing so. Braswell over to Penrose, and it stays alive. Penn State lives for another point.
Nice job of chasing it down there from Levanchi. Gross able to keep it alive. Nugent back to serve could be dangerous for Penn State. Ball State's able to win to be their first victory against Penn State since 2013.
Weiler down, double hit by Albrecht, and that all but does it. Ball State takes it in 4 sets against Penn State. The Cardinals 4-1 on the year. Penn State drops to 1-2. Ball State 2-0 at home. And the Don Shondell Active Ankle Challenge, an impressive performance here inside Worthen Arena. 14 kills by Serene, and Shevs ends the night successfully for Ball State in Worthen.
Great look as Weiler gets a deflection off of Penrose. Albrecht takes it. What are they doing?
Autograph signing, I think.
Thank you.
Ball State takes it in 4 sets against Penn State, both ranked opponents here inside Worthen Arena. Let's send it down to Jack Kaiser, who's with the winning head coach, Joe Walton, and Connor Gross.
Thanks, Mick. Coach Walton, Connor Gross with me here. Coach, the offense wasn't quite as efficient tonight. How were you able to overcome that?
I think our guys just really fought in games 3 and 4. We fell off a little bit game 2 and didn't regain that. I'll tell you though, coming back from Hawaii, it's a brutal weekend anytime you travel back from there. And I was really worried about playing St. Francis and Penn State this week, and I'm proud of the guys for getting out on the court and really gutting through these 2 matches.
It won't get it any easier, Coach, as you take a trip to the East Coast now. How do you plan to overcome that and continue to be successful?
You know, at least this next week we're back onto a Friday, Saturday schedule. Our guys will have a long weekend. Hopefully they'll get readjusted with their sleep schedule. We'll have a good week to train and go out and go after Harvard and Sacred Heart next weekend.
Thanks for your time, Coach. Connor, what's led to your success on the court so far this season?
A lot of things. I guess it starts with the pass. Our team's passing really well. We handle the other team's serve incredibly well. So it starts there, and then I have great attackers as well. I have good attackers in every position, and there's not a guy that I don't feel comfortable setting. So with that great of guys around you, it makes your job pretty easy.
4-1 on the season now. What do you like most about this team?
When we get the energy going, I love that. When we get a big block, our team just goes crazy. Our team gets along so well. We all love each other and play for each other, and so it's been a great start to the season. We plan on continuing it.
Thanks, Connor. Congratulations. Mick?
Penn State drops in 4. Ball State victorious here today. The second set, Penn State, a nice job getting the victory, but the third and fourth set went to Ball State. Penn State, a couple of nice touches, especially by Nugent, our player to watch coming into today.
Nugent leading the game with 17 kills. A couple nice ones, deflections, very powerful serve. He played like a stud, not enough though to overcome all the offense from the Cardinals.
And it was the third and fourth sets that really defined the Ball State team here today. Matt Shevs, the freshman, with 14 kills, tied Serene here today for the most on the team.
Shevs had it going in set 1 and 2. Serene took the reins in 3 and 4. Alex Pia played really well defensively, provided some great offensive minutes as well. And Connor Gross, the man we just saw, set everybody up really beautifully. Cardinals able to have Shevs and Weiler there, the match-winning attack. After a lull in set 2, they were able to keep pushing it in set 3, and then in set 4, able to just create separation, and it turned to be all the difference for the Cardinals.
Connor Gross, a career-high 43 assists here today, topped his 39 from yesterday, which established a new career high. Ball State walks away with the most kills, a better hit percentage, the aces, everything was on Ball State's side, especially in those last 2 sets.
Those defensive minutes, you like to see the blocks up 1.5 over Penn State, and the hitting percentage down from last night, but hey, 22 on the night for the Cardinals. It's enough to get the job done, and 2 very impressive wins coming off of a very tough road travel schedule this last week.
Matt Shevs has had at least 9 kills or more in all 5 matches to start off his Ball State career. He's really established himself as an offensive force. Matt Walsh finished the evening with 7 kills and 12 digs for Connor Gross, also to go along with those 43 assists. And the next game for this Ball State Cardinals team on January 20th against Harvard, and on the road back-to-back and take on Sacred Heart, but then come home against George Mason on January 26th, an anticipated matchup against George Mason as they are the EIVA favorites over Penn State, and George Mason, one of those teams always to watch out for.
Yeah, George Mason, huge. Ohio State, the #1 team in the country, comes to town February 3rd. Great couple wins for the Cardinals as they defeat Penn State.
That does it for our broadcast here today. Ball State victorious in 4 sets. Tonight's NCAA men's volleyball match between Ball State and St. Francis, or Ball State and Penn State, is a production of Ball State Sports Link and directed by J.C. Obringer. For Alex Thomas and Jack Kaiser, I'm Mick Tidrow saying so long from Muncie, where the final score is 3-1. To watch this entire game on replay as well as other games in our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. Thanks everybody for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN.